You know, in any big conflict, we think we know the players, the good guy, the bad guy. But today, we're diving into a struggle so massive, so fundamental, that it actually created something new, something terrifying, born from its own depths. This is the story of the architect of absolute drought. So let's just start with this question, because it's at the heart of everything. We're used to thinking of fights as a simple A versus B, existence versus erasure. But what if that cosmic battle, that eternal push and pull between something and nothing, accidentally spawns a third option? Something that isn't either. Something parasitic. Something so much worse. And this is where the whole script gets flipped. That familiar struggle we've been following, it had an unforeseen consequence. It created this accidental third power that just completely rewrites the rules. He's not supposed to be here. He's an accident of logic, a third pole in a fight that was only ever meant for two. To really get what's happening, you have to just throw out the old map. The fight between Glaucus, the king who builds and creates, and the Shadow, the denier who wants to erase it all, that's not the whole story anymore. Turns out, it was never really that simple. Okay, so check this out. This table really just lays it all out for us. You have your thesis, Glaucus, the king. His whole deal is existence. Then you have the antithesis, the shadow, the denier, all about negation. But their endless war created this twisted, unexpected synthesis, the captain. And his role? He's a parasite. His only goal is pure, relentless consumption. He's not here to rule and he's not here to unmake. He's just here to drain everything completely dry. Let's put a name to that because it's a special kind of horror. Nihilistic consumption. This isn't about ambition, or some grand philosophy. It's just an engine, a drive with one single purpose: to consume and to desiccate, to leave behind a world that isn't gone, but is just utterly, permanently thirsty. And that right there is his ultimate, horrifying objective. The apocalypse he's aiming for isn't some big fiery explosion or a descent into endless night. No, it's way more insidious than that. He wants to create a world that will die forever of thirst. He actually reigns over this metaphysical place called the Drought within the deep, a plane of absolute lack that he wants to make our physical reality. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. The sheer audacity of that statement. This isn't just a physical goal, it's a philosophical mic drop. To take the ultimate symbol of life and abundance, the ocean itself, and turn it into a monument to absolute dryness. It's a terrifyingly poetic mission statement. This whole philosophy builds into a kind of twisted creed for him. So first, like we said, he rules over this concept, the drought within the deep. Then, and this is key, he sees all life, you, me, every living thing as just water waiting to be stolen. We're not people or enemies to this water vampire. We're just resources. And it all feeds into that one final chilling goal: the total dehydration of everything. Okay, so you've got this ancient cosmic being obsessed with drying things out. How does a threat like that even work in our world? Well, he's not coming for the rivers. He's targeting the very thing that makes our civilization flow. His plan is chillingly modern. Right. His target isn't armies or governments. It's the nervous system of our entire society, our interconnected infrastructure, and more specifically, the global digital grid. He gets it. To make the modern world die of thirst, you don't drain the oceans, you drain the data. And he's got this scary-sounding name for his master plan: entropic phase shift. The idea here isn't just to break our technology, no, it's to trigger a permanent state of decay, to fundamentally shift it into a state where it can't hold information anymore, to literally and permanently drain the information age dry. And here's how the attack would actually go down, in 3 horrifying steps. First, infiltration. He uses this weapon called chaos water, which is some kind of alchemical solvent, not the normal stuff. Second, this stuff triggers what's called electrochemical migration, basically causing electronics to corrode and eat themselves from the inside out. And the result? Total collapse. Catastrophic shorts, data centers wiped clean, and our technology completely neutralized on a global scale. This is why it is so important to understand just how different the captain is. He's not a king who wants a throne. He's not an eraser who wants a blank slate. He is a predator, and he's playing a completely different game. And this comparison just makes it crystal clear. When you put him up against Glaucus, you see he has zero interest in ruling anything. He literally sees entire nations as little sand castles on a beach, not worth his time. And then you compare him to the Shadow, and you see he doesn't want to wipe the slate clean and return to nothing. No, he wants to preserve a state of being, a permanent absolute drought, an empty cup held that way forever. So when you get right down to it, he isn't some fundamental force of the universe like the other two. He's a consequence. He's a predator that was born from the unchecked power, from the sheer hubris of two titans who were so locked in their war they never saw what they were creating. So, where does that leave him in the grand scheme of things? What's his actual purpose in this whole cosmic drama? Well, he represents a parasitic endgame. He is the poison that inevitably seeps out when anyone quests for absolute power. I mean, he was literally born from the leftovers of power, this palingeneous energy. It's described as the runoff, the waste product, the magical pollution of the king's own divine will. The captain is what happens when absolute power has nowhere else to go. He is the universe's most toxic byproduct. So his function, his job in this whole dialectic, becomes chillingly clear. He's the residual poison of the war. His purpose is to gather the silence, to drain not just our physical world, but the metaphysical ones too, the light of consciousness and the void of nothingness. And in doing all that, he serves as the ultimate, walking proof that the search for absolute power is always, always a self-defeating trap. In the end, if he actually wins, his victory isn't a new kingdom or a fresh void. It's a statement. His very existence becomes a monument to the indifference of the cosmic powers that made him and then just looked away. A testament to the fact that their grand epic struggle only produced a thirst that can never, ever be quenched. Which leaves us with this one final, really unsettling thought to chew on. If the struggle for absolute power is just a trap that defeats itself, then what is its only real legacy? Is it just a poison born from the conflict itself? A parasite that winds up consuming everything the gods were fighting for in the first place? Definitely something to think about.